Welcome back to part 2 of episode 4 from 0.5%. Before we get started, I've got some explaining to do and some good news. I've pulled back up the chart from where we left off in part 1, but I've turned back on the financials tab. And this is kind of nice to point out because I was talking about how I want to be in sectors that are constantly outperforming the market. I had turned financials off because it was still going down and it was riding a little too close in general to the whole market. As we see here, it dipped below, it just hugged it, and then it came up above it for a little while. But I think in the last video it was right here. So everything, or hold on, let me zoom into it. I think it was, there's a good time frame there. I think it was there. Oh no, I can see the date. What was it? 311, 312. Yeah, 312. Okay, so financials were still going down. Everything else was still coming up. It's been, today is now the 14th. So it's been 2 days, and we can see what has happened since then. Even though comm services and tech were coming up at the time, they did one more dip, and then everything has started a nice rebound now. I think we've seen this in the news too, with all of Trump's tariffs going in this past week or so, or past month or so. Everything's been dropping hard, and it's about time for at least a bounce. Maybe not a recovery, but a bounce. And the reason I wanted to put financials back in here is because part of the plan I had discussed was by investing in sectors that are constantly outperforming the market. If you mess up a day trade and you picked it right on the month, week, or daily chart, even if you messed up that day, hopefully you can catch a swing trade, realize some profit, or just make back what you put into the trade the next day or hopefully soon. Coincidentally, I just did this, so it's kind of reassuring that the plan does have some proof to its safety net. And the one I want to go into is this one right here, JP Morgan, JPM. So as it sounds, JP Morgan, if you're not familiar, Chase Bank is in the financials. And like I said, I had bought it before I think I started looking at this video. So it was still on the come down, and you'll notice on the chart it says 314, but that's the day I sold. I think I bought 312 right before I started this, and it kept going down, but then turned around. I doubled down and got out with a 0.62% swing trade. So 0.12% better than my goal, but not a day trade. So the safety net worked. I wasn't, maybe this is coincidence because the whole market's down and everything's due for a pullback, but that's the idea. If the trade doesn't go terrible and you're willing to stick out a day or two like I just did, got my money back. You can do practice trades in the meantime. I've been busy trying to get moved back in from being out on the road for so long. I let this trade run and would just keep an eye on it here and there, and didn't see anything concerning. And then as soon as it came back, took profits today. And I checked the chart at the end of the day. It did not keep going up, so it's a good time to get out. All right, but back to where we were. I'm going to go ahead and take financials off, and I didn't show you this during part 1, but if we scroll down, I don't think I showed you this, I don't remember. There's this table, percentage of large cap stocks above their moving averages, and 2 days ago, this whole chart was red. Everything was under their moving averages, and it's nice to see we got some rebound, especially in utilities, where I said I wanted to be. Look at now, 94% of these companies in this sector are above their 5-day, 68 are above their 200-day. If I would have shown this earlier, it was bloody. It's reassuring that I think this path is advantageous. All right, so looking at utilities and looking at tech, this is big picture. Now I want to see potentially what charts I should be watching or what companies I should be watching. And I'm going to stick to just commercial services right now. So the next website I'm going to is called FinViz, Financial Visualizations. And this is their homepage. Kind of gives you a general idea of how the whole market's doing. You can see here this little heat map. It's a pretty good day for most sectors, technology, consumer, cyclical. Oh, maybe we can find out what that one column was. So we got comm services, consumer staples, I believe. And there's military. I don't know what that one was. But yeah, so this is the whole market. Get a couple indicators here, but this is where I want to be. Screener. So click screener, and yeah, let's go back. I've also added my rules to the plan, or started to add my rules. Here they are. All right, so sectors. Tech and commercial services, we want our companies to be profitable. It's a positive PE ratio. We want our companies to be in the USA in case some news catalyst comes out. We're not the last ones hearing about it and something plummets. It'd be nice if it was the other way around, but it's typically not how things work. So trading, this is where we're getting into. As I've said, I have a couple indicators I like to use. I have a very basic understanding of how to use them, and it's easier for me to recognize opportunities to get into a trade and opportunities to get out of a trade when there is a clear-cut pattern. So I'm going to show you how I find these ones that help me so obviously, but we're going to start. We started at market, picking our sectors of the market we want, and now we're slowly going to check on these companies from the month to the week to the day to the trade. So first things first, we're in the screener. We're on this descriptive page. We're going to go ahead and add what we want. Start with sectors. It was column serve. Industry. I never even checked out industry. That's cool. But country, USA. Let's see. Did I have any other rules here? Pattern, daily bottom bouncing. Okay, so there's some more here that I want to put on. As far as description goes, exchange, market cap, we can check these out as it's happening. The volume is going to be very important to us later, and so is the float. I think we've talked about this from episode 1. But right now, not. We'll get there and check this out. So fundamental. PE, we want it to be profitable, so we want a positive PE ratio. Profitable company, so hopefully, this all ties into our safety net. If we mess up, hopefully it's good company, and if we can afford to hold the position, just stick it out. But you only want to do that if it's a good company. So, profitable company. Anything else here? Maybe future PE. Let's keep that profitable. We don't want somebody that's going down. Technical. All right, so this is where I start to look for specifically what I want. I want to find a pattern that's easy for me to recognize, and one of these patterns is called a channel. All right, so we've got one in here. Let's take a look what we got, and then we're going to look at some of these other details. It might come up in another video, but so this ticker, Upwork, I feel like I've heard of that. Upwork, internet content and information, USA, giant market cap, big company, very nice PE. It's changing 2.11% a day. So that means there should be plenty of opportunities to catch 0.5 swings in the volume. So if I'm understanding this correctly, when we were talking about float, we were talking about the total number of outstanding shares available on the market. Just because there's this many outstanding shares doesn't mean that many are being traded a day. And that, if I'm not mistaken, is how volume comes into play. You might have a company with, I don't know, 1,000 shares, but only 100 of them are available to buy, or available to buy for somebody else or for yourself. So let's take a look at Upwork. Go ahead and click on that. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the channel. This is very easy for me to see. Down, up, down, up, down, up. And these simple patterns are easier for me to catch my eye, find a place to enter. But there's a lot going on here. So we can see that what happened to this stock? It jumped up. These lines right here are moving averages. You can see on the left-hand side. We got 20-day simple moving average, 50 and 200. You can see this is the daily chart. But I mentioned we wanted to slowly zoom in from market to the day. So we found our market, we found our company. Let's see how they're doing for the month. All right, these are monthly candlesticks. So if you look at the x-axis, it's going in years. This month, it's come back down and touched its 20-month moving average. Let's see, has it done this before in the past? It touched it at the top, but it's about time to come under. It just broke above it and is now checking it. This could be a decent time. It's similar when we're looking at the minute charts. When something's crossing above a moving average, it's sometimes a green flag. So for the month, we are at a bottom. We do want to buy bottoms, but it isn't going to keep going down. Let's check the weekly. Ooh, see, if we look on the weekly, it's starting to go back down, but it is getting support on the 50 moving average. So this might be part of the bounce there. It could be a good one to keep our eye on, in my opinion. We're at a bottom on the monthly. We're at a bottom on the weekly. Let's see if we start coming back up on the day. This is daily chart. Oh, very little action yesterday or today. And it went below the 200. It's now checking the 200. I feel like it could bounce back from there. Let's see if we've got another example. So that's the 200. We just had both the 20 and the 50 jump above the 200. Okay, to jump above, it's coming down, it's gone under, it's checked it. It might be a couple more days before this one's ready to run. Okay. Yeah, so I'll go back. I'm not particularly fond of this one. Make sure there's none of the fundamentals. Let me take this future PE off. Okay. Technicals. Let's see if we can find a different one. I'm gonna look at one more, and then we are coming up to our next break. All right, we got here we go. This is some good ones. Let's check out Google. So Google, great company. Everybody knows it's gonna continue making money. I'm not particularly worried about it. Oh, big upward channel. So it comes down, comes up, it's come down, and it's broken below, but it's retesting it. If we get another green day here, I would be watching it the following day probably. But this is how I'm gonna get into it. We're coming up on the end of the video. So I'll be in tech and comm services. I'm looking for a profitable company in the US, trading in a pattern that I like, been beaten down, but starting to show recovery. All right, thanks. Stay tuned for episode 5 or maybe part 3. We'll see what else I find doing some independent research. Have a good day.